Welcome, everyone. I am Candice Davis, host of Ascension Stories, and I would like to welcome back a dear friend of mine, Juliana Rossel, astrologer extraordinaire, master herbalist, and just all around beautiful person, dream weaver. I mean, Juliana, I can go on and on about the eclectic mastery that you have over your life and how much you've helped not just supporting me and my family, but hundreds of other people, if not thousands of other people, through natural health and your Ayurvedic and Chinese and Western herbal medicine, but the dream psychology that you do today. So welcome. Thank you for coming back.
Hi.
Hi. Um, so today there's a lot going on, and I want to start out first to let the audience know why I'm doing Ascension Stories. So, Ascension Stories is where real people like yourself, like anybody out there listening, can come and be on the show because part of sharing our spiritual knowledge with others and our life experience really anchors in higher light, just beautiful energy. It's like a positivity flush that gets like imbued into the earth and into the people who listen. And so I had decided to do this show with the help of my own spiritual guides and teachers on the other side, as well as my galactic family. And they wanted these stories to be shared because what's happening is we're ascending. And I want to talk, Juliana, and say about that word because it seems a very exclusive word. Not a lot of people like, well, what's ascension? I kind of maybe heard about it or not heard about it. So this show will hopefully demystify somewhat of the mystical because there's a lot happening and humans can have different receptor sites, like different little programming to accept whether or not they're ETs or to accept whether or not, there's ghosts. Like it really depends on a lot of factors, your upbringing, your belief system. And this show will hopefully help answer some questions that people may have and take the stigma out of spiritual topics. So,
Mhm.
that being said, so Juliana, last time you were on, we had spoken not only a little about your life, thank you for sharing. I was getting a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback from your story. So, thank you so much for being vulnerable and real with that. So, I want to ask you a question. Um, from your perspective, what do you think is happening right now on the planet? Like, what's changed since from when you were little teenager, college, growing up to now? Do you feel any difference? And if so, what is that?
Wow, yeah, that's a big question. Um, I think in the astrology world, I feel a difference. When we went through COVID, a lot of people were grasping for things to try to help them navigate through and support them. So I definitely saw a lot more clients for astrology. A lot of the used bookstores, the books were flying off the shelves. You couldn't have, there weren't as many books available in astrology. So I think people in general, they were and they still are, searching for something to help them to navigate what's going on, how they feel, and what's coming up. So we're getting ready for something or, that sort of thing, that feeling, especially with the younger population. They're very wide open and just astrologically when they were born, it was a time where they would be, they would understand things, have a higher consciousness. They would see through things, you know, um, ask the questions, not necessarily believe everything, that they see. So, but as you're watching young people, you get a little frustrated sometimes. You wonder like, are they going to get it or wow, same thing what our parents said about us when we were getting older. Um, But now I'm seeing after these years, maybe about 10 years of watching these young people, you're seeing they really are hitting the mark. They are starting to show how they have a higher consciousness more easily or quicker than our generations or our parents or our grandparents. So it's definitely a quicker movement to higher consciousness.
Yeah.
Um, we did have people, that were hiding occult books under their bed and doing things, the churches didn't know. And, hundreds of years ago, we still had that. But I feel like now it's so wide open and so more acceptable. And it's also a place that people, they're going to for support versus the more traditional, which is more religious, right? Or completely leaning on your family. Now they're going out and they're going, well, I have other tools. Like maybe mom or dad don't quite understand. I can come to them for certain things, but I'm going to go search for, my understanding and go deeper into that. So I think
Yeah.
that's what I see.
I can feel that too. Thank you for sharing. It's people are navigating to things that maybe they didn't before, right? And there's so much out there, especially with nowadays with like social media and YouTube. It's a lot easier. Those occult books aren't going to
Mhm.
be underneath the bed much longer. They're going to be out on the coffee table, in some respect, things can be easier to find. So in your life, what got you into gravitating towards astrology? Why astrology for you?
Yeah, I think I've always been open. And we might have gone into it last time about my sister seeing spirits when I was very young.
Mhm.
Did we talk about that? I don't remember.
We did, yeah, and
Yeah.
how she's seeing ghosts
Yeah.
sort of kind of opened up. And then you had mentioned too that you sort of closed off and you're like,
Personally.
no,
Yeah.
personally to that. Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
can
I
be,
believe it. I believe it's happening, but I was very frightened. I was younger than my sister when she had these things occurring, and she
yeah.
didn't know what to do with it either.
Do you think
Um,
people are seeing ghosts more now in this quickening that you mentioned?
I don't know about that. I haven't seen that difference.
Yeah.
Just, observing. And I feel like there are people out there that are just not saying that they are
Mhm.
seeing anything because they're feeling like it's uncomfortable to share. What would
Yeah.
people think? So that could be why. So I think we're still trying to shift. Like, is it okay? What would people think? Um,
Yeah. It is okay. It is okay. I'm going to tell Ray out there right now. It is okay to share your story. So I have a ghost story just this week. And
oh, wow, yes.
yeah, I have a ghost story just this week. So a little backstory, like we'll just a little backstory. I had a dear friend of mine who I worked with when I was a principal at a school, and we instantly connected right away. She loves dragons. Um, and I love dragons too. I can sense them. They are part of my protectors. Not in the sense that I'm needing protecting, but they support my spirituality. So we hit it off right away. And do you ever know, like when you meet someone and you have that connection with them and it's really strong, you don't know why. You're like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. You love them. Like that's how I felt with her.
Yeah.
She, I just, and that's how I felt with you too. It's like,
I know. I was
I
like,
love you. I love you so much. And I did, I loved her. She was, in a Latter-day Saints religious group, but her spirit was very much open and open-hearted. And she lived from a place of love, not from a place of judgment. So she died last year in 2024 on Earth Day, which getting over the shock of her sudden death was Earth Day was hilarious because I'm like, yes, she would go out on Earth Day. Like she would go out on Earth Day. That was whether or not you believe you plan your own death and just subconsciously don't know it, that's like a whole nother topic. But
Mhm.
she transitioned on Earth Day. And her funeral was May 4th, which again was hilarious because she would have wanted May the 4th be with you. That was just a joke she said. She was a big Star Wars person. And so
Oh,
I'm like, we maybe we do plan on some hidden level our end, right? Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. I taught that in science class. So on the anniversary of her passing, I was walking the dog and just, la-di-da, walking the dog, enjoying the day. And I thought of her like for a moment. I'm like, oh, it's April 22nd. And then I got flushed with a huge wave of energy and like tingling in the top of my head. My hairs stood up on my arms, and I just felt her love. And to me, it was a validation that life doesn't end after this body expires. Like we keep going. And we probably had maybe, I don't know, a 30-second, a minute exchange where I felt the energies of her. And then it, took me like all throughout the rest of the day. And I emailed our group of friends saying, hey, just saying hi to, to her and hope you guys are doing a good day. So I was able to like share
mhm.
that with others, which is what I think we're really meant here to do, is to share that with others. So I believe ghosts are happening. Um, I'm more sensitive to energy. I haven't told anybody that story that I felt, her. I did tell one person, a good mutual friend we had. I'm like, hey, I felt Cameron this morning. It's crickets.
Yeah.
you know so and I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you know where she's buried? Because that I didn't know. Like at the funeral, I wasn't able to stay the whole time. I saw like the viewing and I saw her corpse, and a little bit of they as they were getting going, and then I left and did my own processing. But so I never saw where she's buried, so I have to probably go and visit that memorial, of her. I don't think her soul is not in her body. I it's out, it's where it needs to be, and healing and transitioning. And so yeah, that's my ghost story of the week. Thanks for listening.
Nice. Yeah. I love that.
And
Yes.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna, so your question was, how did I get into astrology? And yeah, I wanted to finish that. And I think that I just, in general, just been more open, but then again, at times scared because of my introduction. And it wasn't until I met an astrologer that I really got into astrology. So a little bit at a time, he would give me information on my birth chart and come in and visit because I was working at a health food store. And so it kind of sparked my curiosity. And then at one point, that person needed my assistance with their health. And as a trade, I got to learn astrology, and it kind of got passed to me like a torch. So that really opened things up. But I would say I definitely had a curiosity for astrology like a teenager, like looking up a horoscope, right? And knowing a
Mhm.
little bit about each one of the signs. And then I had a girlfriend that she was really into astrology when we were in college. And so we could have a couple of conversations about it. So I don't think I've ever been closed off to it. I feel like that's something that nobody told me it was bad. Like it was kind of one of those things like tarot cards, somebody probably said it was bad, or Ouija board, somebody said it was bad, so,
Mhm.
but I was a little bit more open to it. And then because I did that, it got me more comfortable with tarot cards. And if I did see a ghost or like all those things, like it helped me to break into like, wow, I'm protected, like learning how to protect yourself. You can do these things and being more open. And what do you do about it? Like having those lessons, right? Having somebody help you with that so you're not going
Mhm.
it blindly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, you
And
don't want to be dumb. This is powerful stuff.
it is powerful stuff. And it's really interesting what we navigate towards, and how you navigated towards astrology, and that opened you up. And I've always navigated towards ghosts
Yeah.
and the paranormal. And I think because I was really sensitive, I remember as a kid, um, few, I don't know how old I would have been, little, like just when you learn to sleep in your own bed, you know, you graduate from the crib or a toddler bed to like a big twin bed. So I was around that age. And I remember seeing spirits come through my wall in the room from the outside. It was an exterior wall. And I remember lights in the sky and just different things that my family would go, "Oh no, Candace, that's not real. There's no monsters under your bed. Like there's nobody coming through the
Yeah.
wall." And I'm like, I don't know. And then my uncle died when I was little too, around that age. And I couldn't figure out why people were so sad. I knew why they were sad, but I'm like, well, I just saw Uncle Harry the other day. Did you? And I learned to shut up real fast. Um, so I wouldn't disturb my family. And I think that was the bigger moment realization for me when I was little, is like this stuff wasn't necessarily disturbing to me. Talking about it was disturbing to them.
Yeah, and that
So
was my
yeah.
sister's, that was her experience. And I think because we went through that with her, we made sure that when my daughter started seeing people, that it was kind of like, okay, call in everybody. What are we going to do? How do we support her and not shut her down? And like, don't say, don't do, like tell her what you were told, right? So now Ariana has this support system, so then she hopefully doesn't feel like she needs to keep it from us. You never know how much she feels comfortable. She is a teenager.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
how's that coming full circle for you? First your sister and now your daughter. And I just want to say thank you for not making her seem like it's a bad thing or it's wrong. And the fact that you brought in your whole family or your support network to be like, how do we support her? That's a beautiful thing. So it's an honor
yeah.
you for parenting her. But how has that been? Is she actively seeing things all the time?
I don't know because she's less quiet. She's a little bit more quiet because she is a teenager and she's doing her stuff. But she definitely was more active when she was young. And she saw some things at her dad's house and saw some things at my house, that she didn't even know who these people were. So then she would tell me and describe it. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. So then I would call up my mother. I'm like, who are these people? And she'd be like, oh, that's your uncle so and so. And that's, my mom. And, so she would confirm it. And then I called my sister who could see people, and just making sure like what do I need to do to support this? And basically just staying curious, and every once in a while I would ask her, have you seen grandma? My grandma, which would be her great grandmother. And she says, oh yeah, she was just sitting at the foot of the bed, I don't know, a couple days ago or something like that. And so I think I should have asked more questions, like kept that going, like if I really wanted to know, but it kind of faded as she was getting older. Um, and then with my sisters, she can't not see them. So it still happens and she's in her 40s. And I think that might be more Ariana's case. Like if somebody passes, then she'll probably see somebody then, right?
Mhm.
She's having dreams, so she had the recent person that passed in her family, that person came into her dream and gave her a message. So then she just relayed that message. So similar to my sister. So my sister also has like she'll get it in real life. Like the person will come to her foot of her bed in real life, tell her the message, and then she'll relay it to the person.
Mhm.
Um, but still, my sister still has that fear of saying something. Where my daughter,
Mhm.
I think she's more open to like, oh, by the way, this is what happened and no big deal. And I think that might be more, again, the younger generations coming in, like just seeing through things, not in as much fear as we were to talk about these things, which is really great. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, and it's important not for me to probe and make her like a circus show in front of my family. Like, guess what? She saw Uncle so and so the other night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting her on the spot to tell us all.
I know. I think I look back like, yeah, I've done that in a past life. Like I feel like I've had that being so open with, and being flaunted around. Um Ghosts and like energies from the other side. And if you're one of those people out there listening that can see, hear, sense, smell, taste, have a lot of the clair audiences, the clairvoyance ability, it can be a scary place to navigate if you don't feel connected. And in my journey, everything shut down until COVID. And well, actually, now I'm going to say everything. In 9/11, so in the 9/11 incident in New York, I had a strong desire to go there 8 months pregnant with my firstborn child. And I did. I ended up joining with my grandmother with the Red Cross. And I had to go there. It was like such a drawing. And I didn't realize until actually COVID why I have such an interest in dead things, for lack of a better word. And people died. And during COVID, I had dreams to where I was literally lucid, but still physically awake almost, pulled out of my bed. I could see my body. I could see me leaving my body. I could see me astral traveling to places like Italy. I was there a lot in my sleep, speaking Italian and moving dead people on that had passed from COVID, like ensuring them that it's okay to cross over, like ensuring them like this, like here's the rainbow bridge or whatever your visualization is, and just being like the image I got is like a crossing guard, like for school kids, I'm like, stop holding up the sign. Come on, children. Like, let's go, like in angelic form. And I did that for probably a year, end of 2019, all of 2020, and into 2021, before I had another experience. And so now I know that when people are passing, or if it's someone I know, like my friend from work, I knew she was going to leave 3 days before she had her car accident. And it was Friday, she passed on a Sunday, and Friday at work, I saw her like staring out into space, and I had this knowing, oh, this is the last time I'm gonna see her in physical
Oh.
form. And so I went up there, I'm like, hey, have a good weekend. Like I gave her a big hug, and we had a little not an argument, but just like at a school, tensions are high.
Mhm.
So, you just get on each other's nerves a little bit. And I said, hey, I'm sorry if I was short with you. And she's like, nobody has time for any of that. She's like, I love you. And I told her I loved her. And then, like, that weekend, she passed away. And so I knew that it was going to happen somewhere inside of me, but I didn't consciously be like, hey, I wouldn't go driving down that, you know, because it's really none of my business. And I have found that when I'm supporting someone energetically through their transition off the planet, it's really a very objective, loving thing. Like there's no judgment. There's no, this is bad. Please don't die this weekend. It's like, this is what you wrote in your life plan. I'm here to support you through it. And I try to take that into my daily workings with like clients or people who are terminal, and be like, there's no judgment here. There's no judgment on the other side. It's all love. Like you're going to go back into that, which is perfect. So
So
I don't
I
know
have
why.
something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to talk to you a little bit. Like, do you ever get afraid of the information that you receive and how it would be taken by the person that you might share it with, or should you even share that information with that person? Because I
Yeah,
feel
I
like,
get afraid, but I
okay,
do it anyways.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
because I've done that too, where I've either said it and it still was like, should I have said that? Or I don't say it and then the thing happens and the person said, well, it sounds like you knew ahead. Like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily something that I should tell you, but then, like it's kind of, so I'll get information about my clients ahead of time. like their death or a treatment or, something like that, that would, yeah, I'm not sure if it would help them or not to know. So sometimes I fret. I mean, sometimes it takes longer for me to share it, right? And same thing with like death of a loved one. Like I'm like, please don't go, like I don't want to go to bed at night and dream that my mom's going to die. Like because I wonder, then I would fret for all the time before it happened, wondering if the dream's going to come true, right? Because it's already, those things have happened before. So for me, I struggle with that. I don't, do you have any suggestions? I know you feel it a little bit
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's because we're human, right?
Yeah. I'm
And
like, I
other
don't want
people,
to tell the person their dog's going to die. Like, I don't, because what if it doesn't?
yeah. So someone who's especially in the healthcare industry, you have this heart for people, and if for me, and I can only share my own experience, my own struggles, but for me, when I was doing herbs and tongue and pulse diagnosis, I could see things in their lives by touching their pulses, like if you are familiar with that. And I hesitated for a moment to share, but I had to trust myself. I had to trust the information and my higher guides and be like, look, whether you believe where I'm getting information or not, but as someone who's tuning into your energy, the field around you, the quantum field around you, I see that there's a really big stressor in your life with your daughter. And some of that is what is underlying these health issues. I had to do it and I had to let go um, of what they might think of me. And I could tell you recently, my uncle came to visit me, not the one who died when I was little. I have another uncle who passed of cancer in 2013. And I just felt him in this room. And he had a message for my Aunt Joyce, who is Southern Baptist. And I'm like, I don't want to tell her.
Yeah.
And I know she won't, I'm not going to tell her. But I had to trust myself. So I texted her because that's what you do. You don't want to talk to someone in person. So I'm like, I'm still human. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, hey, Uncle Ronald wanted me to let you know about your kids. Everything's gonna be fine. And she texted me back, she's like, okay, sweetie, that's it. Uncle Ronald's in heaven and okay, like, she doesn't really believe, she's very traditional in that stuff.
Yeah.
And trust is the biggest thing. Like learning to trust yourself and learning to trust those that are around you to guide you and your abilities to see into the quantum field to get a sense of what might occur. I did tell someone that their dog was not going to die. I said, this is not, it's not its end of its life.
Mhm.
Like I could see more, but they ended up putting it to sleep a week later. And I just kind of let it go. And they're like, she got really sick. And I'm like, okay, you know, that
Yeah.
that can happen because anything's possible. But
Yeah. I know you can't know how they're going to interpret the information. I think I just have some self-doubt. Like if it is a scary, like not scary, but say it's like a diagnosis or something that
mhm,
I see, and then that client's going to come in 2 days from now, right? Like is that information for me? Is it symbolism for me to give me some extra information to help them, but it's not literal,
mhm.
right? So if I say it's literal, then I could be telling somebody that they have cancer or like that. And is that really cancer, or is it just, oh, this could turn into some, giving me a message, maybe you need to pick herbs that are for the immune system or something. So I do stew over it. So far
Mhm.
I've been able to communicate these things to the clients eventually, and we talk about it, and then there's enough for me to be able to share with them what I felt the symbolism meant, and this is why we're changing the approach. Or yeah, or
Yeah.
literally it's sad. Like I had, a dream about somebody passing, like 5 months before he passed. And there was no clue that he was going to pass. Like it was like that type of thing. It's just
Mhm.
you think it's just, oh, their death means an ending, so they must be like doing something new in their life. It's like a spiritual journey. That's why he died in my dream.
Hmm.
Not that he has a, unrecognizable condition that they couldn't diagnose.
Yeah.
So,
And it's like that Spider-Man, with great wisdom and knowledge comes great responsibility. That's how I
yeah,
feel sometimes. But I, when I am faced with something similar, I always uphold that everything is going to happen for their highest good. And I would
that's so
use
great.
not that information to be like, beware, beware,
Right.
change your life, repent. Like, that's not who I am. But what you're doing is perfect. Like, you're using that information to maybe tune the herbs that you might give them or have an inclination to go down a different healing path that could support them. So, when I do energy work, I always hold like a compassion field. So if that person has cancer, or if like you can sense that there could be something more wrong, or tragic happening in their lives, seeing them like pre-paving ahead of that event with a compassion bubble of like whatever they're going to go through, I'm going to hold the highest outcome in love for them.
Yeah.
Show me, spirit, what I need to know to make their journey easier, or
Yeah.
show me, spirit, right now what I need to know to assist them on this path. And because sometimes when you get downloads, as you know, it's like a big dump of a bucket. Well, I only need a drop.
Yeah.
Show me what I really need to know in this drop that will be of the highest possible benefit for them at this time. And then, the other water, just know that it's there and you can reach into that if you need something else. That's
Yeah.
what I
And
do.
what I
But
what I love when you shared your story about the teacher that passed, like what you felt before when you gave her the hug and said goodbye, and it's like what you didn't consciously understand, but you were doing it. Once you understand how that feels, and then it continues to, this is a feeling and this is the result. This is a feeling, this is the result. You start to build up your intuition. So then when that happens again, you trust it even more, right? Because in the beginning, you're
mhm.
like, okay, I felt different. I don't know what that means. All right, moving on. And then you're like, wait, I felt this before. Maybe I need to pay attention. Let's see if this also manifests into something, right? So I think just recognizing those signs, maybe even journaling, right? That
Mhm.
same thing with the dream stuff that comes up, right? I had this dream, this came true, but these dreams here didn't come true. So kind of seeing what does that dream look like when the dreams are more prophesizing? What do the dreams look like when it's just a dream message just for you, right?
Yeah, those are all really, really wonderful points. And thank you. Uh, Thank you for this conversation. I feel a little healed and just I lighter, telling this story. And I appreciate you holding space for me to share them today. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. We're going to be doing something amazing. We're doing a new show together, right? An astrology show. So I wanted to tell the audience about that. Starting this month, we're going to be doing two reports. And the show, we think, is going to be called Secrets of the Moon.
Mhm.
Is that right? Secrets of the Moon.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And the moon phases, new moon and full moon, is what we're going to concentrate on. Specifically, the astrology of our times, how that astrology might affect us within our relationships with people, with our relationships with our jobs, and all of that. And then also maybe some ceremonies or energetic balancing techniques to help you through those moon cycles, right? Not talking about PMS unless we want to, right?
We
Um,
might.
we might.
I
Girl, I know.
think
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my menses on the full moon. So,
See, I'm opposite. I'm a new moon person,
ah,
and I ovulate on the full moon. Isn't that
oh,
interesting?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anyways, For all the guys out there, they're just like, la, 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 la. Okay. So that's coming up. Stay tuned. It's only going to be on the Conscious Awakening Network. So you guys can sign up to be a part and get all of the episodes of Ascension Stories and the Secrets of the Moon um, show as well. So thank you so much, Juliana. It's always a pleasure to have
Same
you in
here.
my life. Thank you so much. And any final words for what's okay, let me do it this way. If you could send us off with 3 words, they don't all have to make sense, and it does not have to be a complete sentence. What are your final 3 words?
Consciousness, awareness, and spirit.
I love that.
Just
Okay,
came.
of course. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time on Ascension Stories.